In progress.
Hey guys, once again, this is Mr. D of DSS Review Center. And our lesson for today is equation of a circle. Okay, so let's start. The equation of a circle centered at the origin 0, 0 and radius r is given by x squared plus y squared equals r squared. While the center radius form or standard form, the equation of a circle at hk having a radius of length r is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. As you notice here, the two equations, the first equation is the center is at the origin, while the second equation is in any point on the Cartesian plane. Okay? All right. So let's start. To determine the equation of the circle whose center is at the origin and given the radius, okay, and we are asked to sketch each graph, okay, we may consider the procedure below. Number one, of course, determine the radius of the circle. Next is substitute the radius to the formula. Simplify your answer. And then to sketch the graph, from the center, use the radius to count the number of units to the left, right, upward, and downward. And finally, trace the points to form a circle. Okay, so let's try this particular example. However, before we do that, make sure that at the end of this video, you can be able to determine the equation of the circle whose center is at the origin and the radius. Okay? And of course, be able to sketch the graph. Okay, so let's observe example number one. Find the equation of a circle whose center is at the origin and radius is 3. And then sketch the graph. Okay, so let us consider the procedure I have presented earlier. First is determine the radius of the circle. Since the radius is given from the problem, then we can already identify that r equals 3. Then substitute the radius to the formula. So what is the formula? This is the formula given. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. So since we only have r or the radius as given, then we only substitute the radius, which is 3 squared. And then if when we simplify our answers, this is now the equation of the circle. X squared plus y squared equals 9. Okay, and then from the center, use the radius to count the number of units. So since we know that this equation, the center is at the origin, it's the center of the circle. So when we count from the center, 1, 2, 3, then this is your first point. And then from 0, 1, 2, 3, okay, that's another point. From 0, let's go downward. 1, 2, 3, that's another point. And from 0 to the left, okay, this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these are your 4 points, okay, created because you know the radius, the distance from the center. Okay, and from here, we may trace the line to form a circle. For you to make it more accurate, you may use a compass to do it. So set the compass with radius 3 and then trace the whole line. Okay? All right. So let's proceed. For target skill number 2, determine the equation of the circle whose center is at HK. So we do not know its coordinate. So it's any point on the Cartesian plane. It could be in the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, or fourth quadrant. Okay? then, okay, let's try this example. Find the equation of a circle whose center is at 2 and 3 and the radius is 2. Sketch the graph. Okay, for us to be able to do this or answer this particular problem, again, we may follow this formula. Determine the values of h, k, and r. So this time, we are not simply substituting r, but we need also to substitute h and k. So here from the given, h is 2. It's actually the values of x, no? In the center. So 2, and then k is 3, and then r is 2. Okay? So, and then use the formula x minus h, y minus k squared. So we will be substituting 2 for h, 3 for k, and 2 for r. All right, and to do that, okay, so we have now x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 2 squared. Okay, when we simplify, definitely we cannot simplify this anymore. Okay, what we can only simplify is 4. Okay, and that is actually considered simplified form because that is actually the standard form of the equation of the circle. However, if your teacher requires you to write it in general form like this, then you really have to simplify this expression. How? From standard form, we can actually simplify these binomials into this. So x minus 2 squared will be x minus 2 times x minus 2. We learned that from basic algebra. And 1 minus 3 squared is 1 minus 3 times 1 minus 3 equals 4. And when we do that, when we simplify that, this is actually equivalent. If we apply FOIL method, it will be x squared minus 4x plus 4, while y minus 3 is y squared minus 6y plus 9. And with that, you can see that there are common terms or similar terms like 4, 9, and 4. What happened? How come it becomes 9? Okay, remember when I use additive inverse property, okay, or some of us, we use the term transpose. When we transpose 4 to the other side, it will become negative 4. So 4 minus 4 will be 0. That's why what the constant number remains in the left side is just 9. So nawala, na-cancel na yung 4 under this expression. Okay? So when you write it, start with the highest exponent, arrange it alphabetically. That's why we start with x squared, followed by y squared, then 4x, then 6y, then the constant number equated to 0, and that is the general form. Okay, so how are we going to show the graph? This is actually the graph. Using GeoGebra, if you type the given, you can be able to look and show the graph already. However, for you to learn this more, plot first 2 and 3. Okay, so we know that 2 and 3 is here. It's 1, 2 for x and 1, 2, 3 for y. That's the center. And then since you know that the radius is 2, from the center, again, count to the right. 1, 2, that's the first point. Then to the, or upward, 1, 2, that's the second point. To the left, 1, 2, that's the third point, and downward 1, 2, that's the fourth point. And then trace it so that you can be able to form the graph of a circle. Okay, so I hope you understand this particular video. For more exercises, you may actually request for worksheets from your teacher. Okay, I may give it to them. All right, so once again, this is Mr. D of TSS Review Center. And as I promised, okay, I will try to complete grade 10 lessons so that you will be guided in your grade 10 math lessons. So once again, sa mga hindi pa nag-subscribe, kindly subscribe so that you will be updated with the videos that I will be uploading, not only for grade 10, also for grade 11 and 12. Okay, so goodbye for now and have a good day. Thank you and good afternoon.